Welcome to the Battlefield Show. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great. Ready to hop into some Battlefield, and today we're talking about all of our thoughts on the update that we got last week, and really looking forward to diving deep into all of that. So, let's jump right in. So you may have noticed last week we didn't have an episode, and it was because Sammy got attacked by a bear. Barely was able to get out of that situation.
I just made it out alive.
So you broke your finger, right?
Yeah, I broke my finger at work, which is ironically this is the second time I've worked at this place, and it's the second time I've broken my finger at the same place. So the first one wasn't my fault. This one was literally just my fault. So I just had to miss the first couple of days. I think it was actually the same. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was the same day the update dropped.
Yep.
And because it dropped pretty late anyway, usually it's at 7 o'clock for me, 7 p.m., but it was at 8, and I had work the next day too, so I was like, I'll just play it the next day. And then I got home from work and tried picking up the controller, and it's my middle finger, so it's like the one that holds all the weight of the controller. And it's fine, like I can bend it and stuff, it's actually pretty much fine, but it was just so sore that day that I literally couldn't play, and the next day as well. So, yeah, we had to give last week a bit of a miss, simply because I didn't want to come on and be like, so, yeah, I haven't played the new update.
Guys, update, it is definitely updated.
Yeah.
It is a new version of Battlefield. Downloaded the files. So it was about 19 gigs. It's it is an update. That is true.
Can confirm.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the
Bloody hell. But yeah, we were just saying before we started recording that it might even be a good thing because there was so much in this update that it was probably good to sort of sit on it for a week, and we both probably had a fair amount of time now to actually play it, so may have worked out for the best.
Yeah, I think we made the decision, hey, let's just get some good experience with it and come back to the show with that experience and make sure that, hey, offer you guys the best podcast we can. And, oh my gosh, dude, this is a big update.
It's a very big update. I'm a big fan of it.
I think it fixes a lot of the issues that a lot of people had with the game. And I just want to jump right in with the good juiciness. First off, breakaway. Goodness gracious, man. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good change.
I am very, very happy with it. It looked really good, but I think both of us, we were both like, it was a pretty bad map. Like they'd have to work some magic to fix it. And they seem to have worked some magic because I actually really enjoyed it. I haven't played enough on Conquest to fully know, but I played a fair bit of Breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. I guess the only thing I don't know about is like the balancing with Conquest, because I think I've literally played one Conquest game and the rest was Breakthrough, so can't fully judge it in terms of the balancing, but just the way the map feels, and like I've explored the whole map obviously, and yeah, it all seems to flow really well. I like the Breakthrough like progression through the map. It's like got a lot of different little areas, and yeah, I'm a big fan of it. It's actually probably now one of my favorite of the base maps, I think, which is, I never thought I would say that, but it's very, very big improvement.
That's hilarious. I always forget about Breakthrough, but I've been playing mostly Conquest and I've been really enjoying it. I think it finally has like a good flow, because Breakaway, honestly, it wasn't even a mid map. It was like a low tier map.
Yeah.
Before these,
it was one of those maps that like looked cool and the points of interest were cool, but it had there was no like connection between the points of interest. So it was just like you're in one spot, and then if you capture that area, you're kind of like, now what? Like, I have to wait here until they push us, which could be 5 minutes, and I'm just standing there, or I've got to run 40 kilometers to get to the next area.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just had no like flow to it, like you said, and yeah, I feel like it does now. It's all a lot closer together. I think I would just say it feels fixed, like it feels how it probably should feel, which is a a big positive because it had a lot of work to get to that point, I think.
Yeah. So the big question on our minds, is it better than Spearhead?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
For me, Spearhead's still first, and I'm not sure I like it more than Stranded either. But I think it might be above Exposure, or it's at least on par with Exposure, I think. So it's like in that bracket of now, it's one of the, like, those are the good maps. Like, I think everyone likes those maps, and it feels to me anyway like it's in that bracket now, which is, it's gone from pretty much dead last to that, which I'm pretty stoked with.
I don't think it's quite as good as Stranded is. I think it's closer to Stranded than Exposure, though. I liked Exposure when it came out. I enjoyed it. I hopped in pretty recently to play it again, and it didn't quite hit the spot that it did before. Yeah. So I think it's just a testament to the effort that they put into it, that a rework map is better than one of the new maps.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think we've definitely got spoiled a little bit with the two most recent maps because, I feel the same about Exposure. When it dropped, I was like, this is easily the best map in the game. And now, I don't dislike it, but it's like, it doesn't have that, I'm not like super excited to play it. Whereas when Spearhead pops up, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for that. Exposure's kind of like, I'll play that, but I'm not like ecstatic about it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of goes to show how well they've done with Stranded and Spearhead, that they kind of made us forget about what at the time was the best map in the game. I pretty much agree with everything you said. That I think Breakaway has just like slightly edged it now, so it's up there as I think most people would probably. Well, it's hard to judge. From what I've seen, everyone seems pretty happy with it, so it seems to be up in that upper bracket for most people, which I don't think anyone expected that at all.
Yeah. If you'd have told me like, hey, a rework map is going to be the best map or one of the best maps, like top 3, I'm like, no, there's no way. You're
even
lying
Orbital,
to me, man. Yeah.
Because even Orbital, we were like, that looks amazing when they showed it off. And even then, none of us were like, that's going to be in that top bracket. Like, we just thought it's already pretty good and it'll be just a bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we had lower hopes for this one, and it's actually had a better outcome than even Orbital did. So, let's see if they can do it to Hourglass. That's that'll be their masterpiece if they can pull that off. Not sure they can, but I didn't think they could pull this one off either. So
they set the bar pretty high.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I doubt that they'll have another map to this level going forward. Hopefully Hourglass is that, but I'm honestly not hopeful because this map was honestly so bad, but it had all of the good pieces to it. It's like, okay, they just remixed it in the best way possible, and I don't know if Hourglass has enough of the good pieces. I mean, there's the arena that I think is definitely interesting, and I think if they should focus more around that than anything else. But the rest of the map, honestly, I don't think is that great or interesting.
Yeah, they would have to do a lot because, like, I think the 3 main points of interest for me on Hourglass is the city, the stadium, and that little village. The stadium's really good. The village has potential if they were to fix it a bit. And the city is kind of boring because it's not really a city. It's just some buildings. If they can fix those and then bring them together, then maybe it can work. But yeah, I don't think it has. Like you said, Breakaway had the good areas already, and they've obviously improved them even further. But like the oil rig was already good. That little village section was already pretty decent. I'm not sure Hourglass has that other than the stadium. The stadium's the only part of the map that I'm like, that's actually fun to play. And it's just so far away that it's like, I don't even go there anyway.
Yeah. Hourglass is just very bland in a way that doesn't make sense for the actual. Oh, it's like, oh, this is this sand-strewn city, and you're in the middle of this like apocalyptic setting almost. Like it has all of the potential conceptually to be interesting, but they don't use any of the concepts to make it interesting. It's like, oh, we've got an arena and we've got streets that are millions of miles wide and buildings and like everything that you would want from a apocalyptic type cityscape with an arena that's being claimed by sand. They don't actually add, and the whole arena is such a small part of the map, it doesn't really even make sense to go over there. But that's where everyone wants to be, so they still go over there.
Yeah. So I think that's the issue with the map, is that it's so like disconnected from the typical flow of a map, where in most shooters, like the center of the map is generally the hotspot. Like, and it's not always like that, but think about any of the popular maps in Battlefield or Call of Duty, like the middle is generally... usually they want to funnel people to the middle because that's where all the action is. Plus, it's like kind of the fastest spot from any given point on the map. Like you don't have to go from one corner to the other. It's just one corner to the middle. So generally that's how it is. But with not just Hourglass, there's kind of a lot of maps in this game. There is no middle of the map. It's like a bunch of spots and then the middle is just like empty. And it just, I don't know. It just doesn't have that flow that I think it needs. It looks maybe more realistic the way they've laid it out, but like that doesn't make it play well. I don't think you need realistic looking maps because that's just not generally how maps are made.
And if you look at like classic shooter map design, it's all around corridors, and it's not necessarily You have like those points of interest. You have those kinds of bigger maps, but you have clear pathways. And in Battlefield 2042, all of the base maps, and some of them even after the reworks, they don't keep to the idea that your intuition on where you should go on the map should hold true. But if you go to like something like even Call of Duty, I'd say even the worst Call of Duty maps, they still hold. If you have a feeling that you should be going in a certain direction, that is where you should be going. And in Battlefield, it's like, do I need to go this way? Like, that looks way interesting over there, but I feel like I should go this way.
I think that was what's lacking with pretty much all of those maps, is that, there's no, it's like they always refer to it as like the 3-lane sort of method to making a map, where there's a central lane that is usually both spawns and the center of the map, and then there's like the 2 outer lanes that are more like for flanking, and there's maybe a couple of flags out there or whatever. And if you look at all the Battlefield 4 maps, that's generally how it is. It's not always like that, but that's like the general consensus of any shooter map, is that there's the central lane, the like chaotic area, and then some like slower paced, maybe long lines of sight, or sometimes it's really close quarters or whatever. The outer lanes are generally like a bit of a change up.
Yeah.
And these maps don't have lanes. It's literally just like, get to this spot, and then if you want to go to the next, say like with Discarded, that's the one I always think of. If you're on the central boat and you capture that, there is no path to get to any other flag. If you want to go to like I think it's B over in the like grassland area, there's no like pathway to get there. There's just like a big open area, and you can kind of go anywhere, which I guess gives the player freedom, but you don't get in fights in between them. In old Battlefield games, you'd always get in gunfights on the way to a flag. That just doesn't happen in this game. It's you only find gunfights at the actual points of interest, and because they're so far away from each other and they're also not generally laid out that well, it just means there's not that many good gunfights unless you're in the central main area of the map. So I also think that's what they've done well with breakaway, is that there is now clear pathways. Like if you're up on the ice shelf, I guess you'd call it, they've now got those like the tunnel through it. So that's clearly funneling people from that area down to the oil rig. And then there's the other paths across the top of it, which is still, it kind of makes it feel obvious where you need to go. It's got the little bridges between all the glaciers and stuff. Like, they've just made it obvious where you need to go. And so whether they can do that with Hourglass, I'm not really sure, but Yeah, this one's definitely given me a bit of faith that like they maybe can. Not sure it'll be on this level, but
if they apply the same mindset, I think they could totally do that. They could make the arena the big focus of Hourglass. They could bring it into a more I mean, if you bring it into the small scale, that's one of the best benefits there. Yeah. And then you go from the small scale, make even the arena bigger. Make it more of the focus and bring more of the identity around this map to that. And I think that could be very interesting to really, really highlight the strengths of that map. If you don't want to, again, DICE does not seem to want to make a cityscape map. No matter, I don't know why, but they don't seem to want it. Then just make it all around the arena. Basically make Stranded, but around the arena instead of the boat.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if the city's not meant to be the focal point, almost don't include it. Like have it as maybe just like there's a flag in that area, but don't have that. It was almost like sold as if that was like one of the main areas, but it's just poorly designed. The only flags are like on the rooftops or down the bottom. There's no, I don't know. There's just no interesting areas over there for me personally.
Yeah.
And so just almost leave it out if you're not gonna use it properly. Just have it as like a tiny little area. Maybe for Breakthrough it might work. Because to be fair, in Breakthrough, like when you go through the city area, that can be fun. But in Conquest, I literally don't go there in Conquest. It's so boring.
Yeah. Why would you? Honestly. But I think Breakaway has really shown me, hey, they can actually make a rework that drastically changes a bad map and makes it a great map. Because they went to, like, anytime I saw Breakaway, I was clicking away from that and trying to get into something else. But now I'm like, heck yeah, give me some Breakaway. Yeah. This is amazing.
Yeah, which is good too, because I have always liked snow maps, but I feel like a lot of snow maps in games are just not good. I don't know what it is. I feel like maybe because they're also open, like you can't really have a snow map that's like super...
I don't understand. Like you can have a snowy forest, people. Like you don't have to make a tundra.
Yeah, it is always out in the open, isn't it? You never get... Yeah. I've actually, now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever played a snowy forest map. I can't remember any. It might have been, maybe in Battlefield 1, was there a DLC map in the snow?
Maybe. I don't have any memory of it. If you're listening to this right now and you know, like, yo, but there's this one map in Battlefield, blah, 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 like, tell us, let us know. But, like, it doesn't usually, they go with, like, we're going to the extreme. Snow. Probably because they're all in Sweden and everything is the extreme. You either get, like, all of the sunlight or no sunlight. They're like, oh, this is how the world works, right? Yeah. Just base it in Colorado. Bring some Colorado or, like the Rockies where they had Canada and all that stuff.
Like mountain ranges like exposure but snowy would be sick. Yeah. Like that would be perfect with a few more trees up on that top area and stuff. That'd be so good. Yeah.
Hey, DICE, if you want to hire us for concepting the next Battlefield map, hit us up and be prepared to make a freaking city.
Every map is going to be close quarters city maps if you hire us.
Exactly. even if like the entire next game is all city maps, it still won't reach the level of the last of this game, the last game, and Battlefield 1. Honestly, I don't think all three of the last games maybe have 2 or 3 city maps. Yeah, maybe
the only ones I can think of from all the way back in Battlefield 1 is Amiens, which was one of the best maps, and I wonder why, because it was close quarters, it was fun.
Yeah.
There was also, what else was there there was another one in Battlefield 1. I guess Ballroom Blitz was almost, it wasn't a city, but it was like, it had close quarters.
Urban-esque.
Yeah. And then that's kind of it, I feel like. I'm missing some, but they're the only ones I can think of. And then
Battlefield 5 had a couple,
like Rotterdam,
right? Yeah.
Which was all right. And then Devastation, which, to be fair, that was a pretty bad map, if I'm honest.
Yeah, visually looked cool, but it was a bad map.
Yeah, the layout was a bit odd. And then I think that's also it for Battlefield 5. I could be missing one, but they were also very open. And then this game literally just has none at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can make the entire game of the next one, all city maps, and it still probably won't reach. It still won't meet the level of just open nothingness that all the other games have.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then switching gears a little bit, like we had an incredibly good breakaway map change, rework, freaking amazing. And we also had classes coming back. What are your thoughts on classes?
I am pleasantly surprised. I was a bit like, I think I said on the last podcast that it was like the good, I wasn't negative about it, but it was just like, I didn't think it was going to have that much of an impact. It does actually feel like it changes the game a fair bit because of the extra gadget. It's still not quite the class system, but yeah, I think I'm actually a little bit surprised at how different it does feel just because you get that extra gadget. I didn't really take that into account. And then obviously the proficiencies also kind of add to that too. So I'm really happy with it actually. It's still not, the game will always have that specialist feel to it. And I'm kind of just used to that now, so it doesn't even bother me. I'm kind of just used to specialists, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pleasantly surprised because, like I said, I was a little bit like, it doesn't feel like it's going to change anything. They were already in classes, and now it's just like official. It didn't seem like it was going to do anything, but nah, it feels pretty good. What are your thoughts on it?
I honestly, it's not an insane change, but it's good. Like, I feel like there's a lot. One, what I'm really happy about is there are a lot more medics, and you get rezzed a lot more. So I don't know why this is a thing, but it is a thing.
I wonder if it's because finally, like, how the reason they kind of said they wanted to bring in specialists or like open up the weapons is because, people were playing medic just to get SMGs. I wonder if it's now that you can use any gun. If you're gonna pick the medic, maybe now people are actually doing that for the medic reasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I agree with that. I've felt like if I see a medic, I kind of feel like they're actually gonna revive me because that's not been the case.
Yeah.
Ever, pretty much.
I was fighting with this one dude. I was trying to res all these people, and this dude kept on like beating me to the punch. I was like, "Hey, that was mine." And that never happens where you're battling to revive people.
Yeah, that's a very rare occurrence for sure.
It's like, what universe am I in right now?
Yeah.
But I think overall, like, it's a good change, and I am enjoying it. It's not as drastic as I thought it was going to be. Like, oh man, they're adding classes. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be insane. It's like, oh, okay, this is good because they're keeping that core part of the specialist and utilizing it. But I do want to say something. Like, this update made me change which specialist I play.
Really?
Yes. Do you want to make a guess at who I switched to?
So you were an Irish main, were you?
I was a Zane main.
Zane, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll say Irish then.
You're correct. Dude, Irish is top tier right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They did such a good job with him.
Yeah. I've only played him once too, and I already could tell like he felt like I actually want to sink hours into Irish now, and I don't think I'd ever really played him that much before. Now I actually feel like I want to, so yeah, I'm really happy with that change. And also, I think I mentioned this when they first talked about it. It just suits his character too. Like he's like the only character I feel like I know Irish. Like I don't know any of the others, but he feels like he's a medic, like a support. He's there to like lead the team and help people out. That's the vibes that I got from him in Battlefield 4. And yeah, it just suits his character. So I'm very happy with that change for sure.
Feels so good, especially on Breakaway. I feel like Breakaway and Irish, you get the benefit of the deployable shield, and you can use that on those open spaces. And pairing that with the revive too, the quick revive and the shield. Oh man, that is a dangerous combination.
Yeah, not wrong. That's like it's a good, because he initially was meant to be that like objective like team player. And now he still has that, but also can be a medic, like, because you can still imagine like running into a building, putting down a shield, and there's a bunch of downed teammates, getting them all back up, and then they've all got cover, and you're kind of taking over that room. Like he has that real PTFO feel to him, while also gaining like the medic aspect. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Really, really good. And just, it's fun too. Like you're going from one thing to the next, and you're just having a good time doing that. Honestly, like I have such a fun time just switching up my play style too. And I mean, Irish was okay before, but I think really switching him to the quick revive and making him the medic is the right move. Makes him such a more valuable specialist to play with that pairing.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you changed anything about your play style since the new update? Is there anything that you're like, man, this is really, really good?
Not so far, but I think I want to try some other specialists out. I've still found myself just playing McKay and Sundance and Falk, but I think I think it opens up the options now that I kind of knew all the other specialists. I didn't want to use them. Whereas now, for example, like I said, with Irish, like there's actually some that I really do want to try out. So I haven't really found myself changing yet, but I think I'm open-minded about it now, which that was not the case. I just had those three that I stick to pretty much since launch. Like I haven't really had any others. Maybe I'd try, Angel every now and then or something. But yeah.
Have you noticed the weapon proficiency?
Not as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think, so like when I play Falk, I'll equip an SMG because of obviously the fast ADS. It doesn't feel any quicker, but also that could be because obviously they kind of nerfed the ADS time.
Yeah.
So
it feels the same, but if you weren't that, like it would be different.
Yeah. It feels like what it did feel like. But then if you go and use another weapon, it probably feels a lot worse. So yeah, I haven't really noticed it as much as I thought I would. I definitely notice it with the assault rifles when I'm playing like McKay. You don't run out of ammo nearly as quick, which I like because generally when I'm playing McKay, like I'm kind of in those, I'll use the grapple to get to like a kind of cheeky spot and just be a bit of a dick to everyone.
Yeah.
And I can't really get, unless I'm carrying ammo with me, I can't really get much ammo back. So I feel like in that situation, that is a really handy one.
Yeah.
I don't even think I've used a recon specialist with a sniper yet, so I can't really judge that one. But yeah, I can feel them, but not as much as I maybe was hoping. So I kind of would like them to like increase those effects a little bit, not too much, because it can become. I don't want it to be the point where it's like you have to, you're forced to use the class. I mean, the weapon for that class. But I think I would like it to be just a little stronger. But yeah, still good change. I still think it's positive. It's better than what it was. So still happy with it. What are your thoughts?
I felt really bad because I went to play Irish and I switched to the assault weapon, and I was like, oh, I'm being real naughty right now. I need to play more of the different specialists. I just need to go through and try them out. I switched up and I was like, okay, let's play some Irish, and it feels the same but different, honestly. Like I definitely noticed it while playing Zane. I'm like, okay, this is definitely good. I can feel this difference. But with Irish, obviously there isn't like a negative repercussion. So I should go through and like just switch, like, okay, this is their weapon that they're proficient in, and this is their weapon that they're not proficient in, and see what the differences are. But I think I really like the change. I think it's a good switch up for sure on how things are being handled on the game side, I think. And as we've said before, it's just something interesting that only Battlefield really does.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I really hope they like stick with it because. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I think as long as it's balanced, there's no way it can really be negative because it's just a slight bonus if you use a certain thing, and then there's no repercussions if you don't. So yeah, hopefully they stick with it.
Yeah, I hope so. And what was there anything else major in this update? I think those are the main things, right?
Yeah, it was really just those, and then I guess the vault weapons, but we get vault weapons every update pretty much, so they're not drastic changes.
Have you unlocked the ones that you wanted yet?
I have, and the MTAR is really fun. I really like that. The PP2000, I don't know if I'm just a bot. It feels very underwhelming to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I've to be fair, I've only used it one game, but I was like just getting deleted when I was using it. So maybe I need to change my playstyle because it is a pretty slow rate of fire. I probably was just playing too aggressively, but it feels like a bit of a pea shooter. But yeah, like I said, I can't really fully judge it, and I need to try it again, but also try and not just do the same thing because you can't really play super aggressive with like a slow rate of fire weapon. So I'll have to try it. I'll probably play later today, and I'll definitely give it another crack because it's one of my all-time favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm still working on unlocking the different weapons, and that's been I got a new one. I just before we recorded, I was playing, and I got a new one. I don't remember what it was called, unfortunately, because I saw your message, and I was like, oh, I just unlocked a weapon. Okay. What is? Oh no, let's record. But it's good. It's good. Definitely been enjoying that switch up in experience of just saying, hey, I'm gonna focus on unlocking new weapons and try these different experiences out. And I've been enjoying it. It's been good.
Yeah. I think it adds a lot. Like looking at the weapon list now, I feel like there is finally so many choices. Whereas like I don't know, a few months ago, it was like I was just using the same exact weapons every game. And to be fair, I still probably do have my main weapons, but like I feel like when I get if I play like 3 games in a row and I'm just using like the M5A3, I do start to go like, I kind of want to use something different. And now there is actually options that I can switch to, and they all seem pretty viable. And there's just a good mix of also genuinely new weapons as well as the vault weapons as well. So I'm happy with the weapon list, I guess you would say now.
Yeah,
hopefully
it feels really fleshed out and diverse now.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's very diverse. There's a lot of different types of weapons, even not just between each class, but like in the assault rifle class, every weapon's kind of different. So I'm happy with it, and hopefully season 4 we'll most likely get another like assault rifle or probably not because we've got a lot, but I'd imagine we'll get an SMG and like maybe an LMG or something, and then more vault weapons. So it's only.
I feel like the only thing that's really light is the snipers. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of diversity in the sniper side of things in Battlefield.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's only 4, isn't there? There's the SWS, the DXR, the NTW, and then the Gold Magnum. So there's literally 4 snipers. So hopefully I would actually love that if we got another sniper and then maybe another SMG. I think it was. I could be wrong because I haven't really been that active on Twitter. Let me check. I think Temporal said something about the SMG.
Okay.
Let me check.
I did see he's been...
AC9 SMG is apparently the next weapon for next season.
Okay.
Which is like a small... It's like a compact SMG. I think it only has 20 rounds. He doesn't say anything about that, but I think this was in Modern Warfare.
Okay.
So, but it's a pretty fun weapon. It's kind of just like, it's not that different from like an MP7 or something. But hopefully we get that and like a sniper or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I think definitely there's room for more snipers, and I hope we get something interesting on that side of things. I think that something interesting that we joked about before too, the whole podcast that they do. They keep on doing episodes. I'm proud of them. Good job, guys. Oh my gosh. Nice. Look at that. Maybe one day you too can get 76 episodes of a podcast out. But they had a Q&A episode of the podcast, and there were some very interesting things that they talked about. One big one was the squad management system. And I think that's something that, I mean, we've talked about before, and how lacking the whole squad system is in Battlefield 2042. It honestly does not... It doesn't hit the spot, honestly. I think it honestly, in my opinion, inhibits team play.
Yeah, it really does. It's actually a hassle to play with friends. Like,
it sucks. It's so bad.
Yeah. So that's a big... When I heard about that, I was very happy, because that's really that. I think we said this actually on a recent episode, that for me, that and a server browser, if they add them, the game is like, air quotes, complete. Like, that would feel like the game's done. And obviously, hopefully we get more content. But in terms of like it being a finished shooter, that's what they need to add, in my opinion. So at least I still don't think we're going to get a server browser, but at least they're doing the squad management, because that at least, playing with friends is just a hassle. Like, it's genuinely, I'd rather just play alone, which shouldn't be the case in Battlefield. The whole point of it is like team play and playing with friends in the community. Like, that's one of the few games that is so built around the community. Yeah. And it's just a hassle to even do it sometimes.
But yeah, they say this. Yes, we are looking into it. Will we ever get squad leader abilities, squad management, etc.? Yes, we are looking into it. We want to get the class system out before we looked at this. We know it's important. Cannot give a date yet, but it will come soon. TM. Lovely. I hate that phrase so much, but obviously it is a meme, so of course they got to use it. Squad management's coming. Some old features from previous titles will return. We don't have any, they say we don't have an answer for anything else right now. I think for something that I noticed that was pretty interesting, it's about the new reworks, tying into our conversation earlier. Quote, with only Discarded and Hourglass being the only two maps which need reworks, will we see any reworks come to these maps? Quote, we have to address each map in a separate way, as the feedback from each map is different, so I can't say we will rework them all in the same way, as it depends on what needs to be changed on them. We are aware of pain points on all maps with like lack of cover and 360-degree engagements. Changes to add more cover may be coming in the future for all maps, such as containers and...
Oh, they did not use that, did they?
They did. You know what? This map sucks. It's a terrible design. You know what's going to fix it? Storage containers and sandbags. And they say this as well. For example, Hourglass, we will need to look how to close the space down and which areas to keep and which areas to remove, etc.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this is a note on
that.
Yeah. A note on it too, quote, even though they didn't outright confirm these maps would be reworked from the way they said it, these maps will likely see changes and other maps may get tweaks, but they don't know the scale of this until they look into it more. And this is from list23.com, some random website I found that broke this down for some reason. But yeah, they pulled that out. So it definitely seems like they're aware of the issues that plague Hourglass. Yeah. Closing it down is going to be very important, and making sure which areas to keep and which areas to remove. They definitely are aware of that, at least, so that's good. Another funny thing that I saw too. So the question was, would you allow a game to start with bots after a few minutes of wait time, even if the demand of players is not met? Which I think is a great suggestion. I hope they do that, because honestly, some of the, I mean, that's the whole point of them having AI in the game. Honestly, like that was the whole kind of thing, with they would supplement the player base with those AI and then remove them as more people played. But they say this. We are aware not all players have the same good experience when it comes to getting into a game. We're looking into it and planning to address it. We are going to make multiple improvements to matchmaking experience in general. Improvements to stuff such as you won't get the same map 3 times in a row, for example. This is a bug. You shouldn't get the same map twice in a row. You know what would fix this, honestly?
My mind.
I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if they're aware of it. Some small scale games used to do this a lot. But it's a server browser and a map rotation list.
Oh my goodness.
Persistent servers almost.
It's mental to me that they are saying like we're going to look into it. You don't have to look in. You've done it multiple times in a row.
You did it in every game but this one.
Yeah. That really frustrates me. It's like they've done such a great job with this game, and I'm very much behind them and like supporting them. But it's so hard to not get really annoyed when it's like, how can we fix this issue? And we're all just like, mate, add a server browser. You've literally, 1, done it in every game. 2, it's in the game. It's literally in the game in Portal. Just put it in All Out Warfare and make it so that you don't get kicked back to the menu.
Yeah.
And every problem that you've just said, how do we do that? That's fixed on the spot. Bang.
Mm-hmm.
No problems.
Or even,
it's
like,
so
you don't even... Obviously, we want it to be that. But honestly, what you could do on your side, make it to where we as a player see that. But on the back end, it's just reloading and putting you into new maps.
Yeah.
But you say, hey, it's going to be this map and this map and this map and this map. And then just generate those games. Like, it doesn't have to be persistent. Obviously, we prefer it because that's how you make friends in Battlefield. But it doesn't have to be that. Like, it's not complicated, people.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it how it is, where it's like it does boot you to the menu, but then if everyone kind of searches at the same time again, it generally will put. It's almost like persistent servers because everyone kind of gets put back into the same one. Just do that.
Make it pretend that it's a persistent server on our end, but do the exact same thing of like, oh hey, this is the map that's coming up next, and it's not going to be the same one.
It's it's just so frustrating because that's for me that is the final piece of the puzzle. Like, just put that in. It's not that hard. I know like the behind the scenes of actually developing it is probably harder than we all think, but the concept of it is not hard. They don't need to think about how do we add a server browser? Like what needs to be in it? How do we do it? Like it's literally in the game. Just put it in All Out Warfare. Frustrating, man.
So the experience is they have this really nice car. And they had some really nice tires for it, and it ran super smoothly. And then all of a sudden, one day, they're like, you know what? Let's replace these really nice tires that we've used for years, that it gets better with age, and let's put some cubes on there. And they're like, man, this is so weird. It's not working quite as smoothly as before.
Damn, this car's kind of bumpy now. What's going on here?
I wonder if we add more, not quite a circle, but if we added more like corners, if it would go a little bit smoother.
Make
so
it like
instead of like maybe if we made an octagon, it could work. Like you have the solution. Yeah. You've made the solution before. It's been in the other games.
The circular tires are in the boot. They're literally still there because it's in Portal. You've still got them. You haven't thrown them in the bin. You can just put them back on it.
Yeah, they're like in the back seat of the car, and they're like, I wonder what we could do to fix this.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Oh, my goodness. It literally annoys me to my very core that they just can't do this. It's so simple, man. It's so simple.
Yeah. It's literally staring them in the face, and they're just like, I
don't care if it takes
wonder.
them 6 months either. Like, I don't care how long it takes. As long as by the end of the game it's got one. I literally don't. If we get till Season 8 and it gets added in Season 8, I will be stoked with that. Like, just put it in eventually. Because once support is ended, if there's no server browser, I may as well uninstall the game on the spot. I'll never find a lobby because that's why server browsers are so good. You can still find where people are, like where the popular servers are. And I know that there's Portal for that. Portal isn't the saving grace that we all thought it was going to be. It's just not. And it won't.
It is to DICE. DICE is like, yo, guys, this is Portal. Go over there.
Yeah.
What do you mean you want persistent servers in a server browser? You have it in Portal. Why do you need it over here? Go over to Portal if you really want it.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah. As the resident breakthrough guy, what do you think about them? 128 breakthrough is not going to become a permanent mode. I want to know your thoughts on that. And then what are your thoughts on them removing helicopters entirely from Breakthrough?
That part right there, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Remove them
I
from
figured
the
you'd
entire
be.
game, please.
Yep.
It's such a hard thing with vehicles, because I understand there is a population that likes that, and it is part of the game, so I don't want them to remove that. It's part of the identity. It was having vehicles, but they just do my head in, especially choppers. You can't stop them. If there's a tanks are annoying, but I feel like I can at least stand a chance because they're grounded. You can't just fly away in 1 millisecond. Like, the choppers are so quick. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. I know a lot of people will be mad and whatever. They've had their 16 months to dominate people, and now if you don't get to dominate anymore, then come and play boots on the ground with us, like everyone else is. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's I'm fine with it, honestly. I am right there with you. I think if they removed helicopters from the game, I think it would make it better. From how I play the game, I think it would be better if there just weren't helicopters anymore. But I think a lot of people would definitely be upset about that.
Yeah.
Even though I think they're wrong.
It's okay. Some people have objectively wrong opinions sometimes.
Yeah, it's fine. We get to decide what those are on this podcast. And I think something that, trying to close this out, something I thought was very fascinating was this. The question, will the 2042 narrative continue in Season 5? Yes, but you'll have to wait more to hear about it. What do you think about that? I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to take of that. I wonder if that means there's no specialist, and that's what they're getting at. There's no continuation of the narrative because there's no specialist.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah,
because they based all of the narrative around they have a dossier on the new specialist. They have a background type thing. But isn't the rumor that it's going to be a map from the past?
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking, is that it must just be a remade map, and therefore it doesn't have, all the maps have got their little backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Season 5 map just doesn't have a backstory because it's literally just a Battlefield 4 map or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's exciting to think about. Not that I'm against the narrative, but it's more, I'm excited that there's potentially something very different happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it shows the cracks of the whole storytelling perspective and the experience around the narrative in Battlefield 2042. Because consistently, it's all been, at least during the game's content additions, it's all been around the specialists. We haven't gotten an experience like they did leading up to the launch, where we had, I think it was a reporter that was going around in these different locations, and we had these little reports from each of the locations that the game would be set around. We haven't had anything like that since then. All that we've had in terms of the narrative side of things has all been around the specialist background, and not necessarily how they connect either, which I think is a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of missed opportunities with the, I think we just keep coming back to the whole Apex thing. That's set the standard so high with how to tell a story through live service that, yeah. To be fair, it is their first. I mean, it's also Apex's first attempt at it, so that's not really an excuse. I was going to say it's DICE's first attempt at trying something like this, but yeah, it was the same for Apex, and they've nailed it. So yeah, it's I can see what they were going for, and I'm still, as much as I would have liked a campaign, I'm still happy that we didn't, because the game would have been even. I'm not even sure we would have got to this point. I think a campaign would have made the game not turn around, because it would have been so broken that we never would have recovered from it. So I'm glad that they went this direction, but yeah, it definitely hasn't panned out how I think they wanted it to, and it's frustrating because the concepts like for telling that story and the initial story we hear, like all these countries have like dissolved and there's just like two teams left and it's like the end of the world. Like that sounded cool, and then it's just not cool really. It's just like I kind of don't care anymore.
Yeah. The thing that Apex does that's so well is they have a very interesting world that they're building around, and it has the whole history of Titanfall in that world.
Yeah.
So we know whether or not, even if you didn't play Titanfall 1 and 2, you know the experience. They do a really good job of kind of bringing you up to speed on this universe. Implementing different weapons, implementing Pathfinder, the robot, and like implementing all these different pieces. And then on top of that world, which is very interesting, they have very interesting characters. And these characters have their own worlds and they have their own experiences. And the characters have history with each other, which makes it even more fascinating.
Yeah, when you see the new characters getting added and like you see, in the trailer for them, that there's another character we already know and they've got some rivalry or they're friends or whatever, like it just adds to it. In like when they added Crawford, it doesn't seem like anyone knows Crawford. None of the specialists know him, so it's just like this new guy. How are we meant to buy that he's part of this story when he's just a new person? Like there's no connection, he's not Irish's friend, and that's how they've met everyone else. It's just like a guy that showed up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Which I think is a missed opportunity. And I think there's such I hope whatever the next game is, they do have a much better grasp of how to tell a story in a video game and a live service. And they actually do it well. Instead of all these like, here's a PDF on a page that you have to, or here's a page. Oh, here's a character on that page. If you click through the character, you get their abilities. And if you click through their abilities, then you also get their background. If you get their background, you can get this PDF that has like 10,000 words on it. And then if you read all that, you can get the information. It's like, nobody's ever going to really do that.
Yeah.
And the world's not interesting enough to make people want to do that. Yeah,
it'd be different if it was like, even like a comic series or something.
Yeah,
like
that's Apex has done that, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so it's just the way that it's just the execution. I think all of their concepts behind how to tell this story and doing it through a live service and stuff, it all sounded really cool. But I just think the execution just hasn't been there. Even like with Call of Duty, they're specialists or whatever they're operators, I think they're called. They don't even have any difference. They're just skins. But when they introduce a new one, you download the update. And before you're allowed to get to the menu, there's like the little trailer that shows off this new character. And it's like you're at least seeing that. And even if you don't care, you're introduced to the character. Whereas in this game, it's kind of just like, oh, there's a new specialist. I don't know who he is. I don't know what they do. I guess I'll just pick him in the first game and see. Like that's literally how you know the characters. In COD, at least, like you get that little cinematic trailer that, yeah, you might not even care, but now when you pick that skin, you just know who it is at least. So, yeah, I think that would have even been a better way to do it. Just each update or each season, show a little, doesn't need to be some like crazy high budget trailer, just literally a 90-second little cinematic showing the new character meeting the others and saying, you know, we need your help. We need, say with Crawford, he's the arms dealer. We need more weapons to fight the battle or whatever, and just introduce them, and that's it. But they obviously they went with the 10,000 word essay instead.
Well, because it's easier on them to do that, to just put something out that isn't a video or a cinematic that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, especially with DICE, man. Their trailers and stuff are just literally 10 out of 10 every time. I've never seen DICE trailers that I'm like, yeah, that was kind of not that good. They're always amazing. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they don't do it, but I guess we'll never find out.
And then finally, I want to get your thoughts on this. Not even given the chance to live, they canceled the mobile game.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's a weird decision because they were kind of marketing it. Maybe it just didn't generate enough interest, but they were like
They
kind
didn't
of
even give
pushing
it the opportunity to gain interest, really.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think you got to release it, and if it just doesn't do well, then whatever. But yeah, I don't get the whole canceling a game. It seemed like it wasn't that far away from launching. Like it'd been in multiple betas and stuff.
Yeah.
And it looked, from what I'd seen, it looked actually fine for a mobile game, and it looked pretty solid. It had like full destruction and everything. So
yeah,
I don't know if it was just like lack of interest or if it was something to do with. We've seen a lot of layoffs within EA. Like a lot of the Respawn teams and stuff have been.
And Respawn canceled their mobile game for Apex as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting.
I wonder if it's to
too.
do with that or if it's just literally wasn't exciting enough. But I feel like when you put that much work, like early on, like if it's in the concept stage or whatever, fair enough, cancel games, whatever. But I feel like when you've done that much work on it, is it not smarter to just see if it pays off? You're not going to lose any more than what you would have if you just cancel it. Canceling it is just guaranteeing that it makes no dollars.
Yeah.
If you try, it might still make no dollars, but at least you tried. So I don't really get it. But yeah, I was very interested by that because I would have played it. I probably would have downloaded it and tried it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess there's probably some behind the scenes stuff that we probably will never find out about.
I think too, the weird thing about it is it was its own thing. Like it wasn't even going to try to be the connection between Battlefield 2042. It was like, nope, we're doing our own little thing here. And I think that ultimately is what really got it killed, because the thing that they do when they cancel it, they said, hey, we're looking for the future of Battlefield and we're trying to combine our efforts into that future, basically is what they said. And they were like, yeah, it's not really where we're headed going forward, and we really want to focus on the next game. So I wonder if that team is going to be working on the next Battlefield game in some way.
Yeah, because they definitely didn't seem like they were just like going their own ways. They mentioned like, yeah, we're focused on the future of Battlefield. So whether I don't feel like they'll be involved in Battlefield though. Like how they develop mobile games, I don't know if you can just switch to developing AAA shooters on console and PC. So I don't know. But if they can be another studio that helps, then yeah, I'm all for that. Like the more that help, I guess, the better. Maybe it could end up with too many cooks in the kitchen, but yeah, I think DICE needs as much help as they can get sometimes. So
you got
hopefully
that right.
They can help in some capacity, even if like I don't know, even if they go to like Marcus Leto's studio and they're more on the side of like storytelling and stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah, interesting to see either way.
Yeah, it's very fascinating to think about and just see a little bit of the insides of like what decisions they're making, and not necessarily why they're making those decisions, but just it seems like they're trying to focus all of their efforts onto this next game, which I think is the right decision. But with the mobile game we've known about this since before Battlefield 2042 came out, that there was going to be a mobile game, and it got canceled.
Yeah, especially it's even weirder with a mobile game, I reckon, because the monetary potential for those games is ridiculous.
Huge. Look at Call of Duty Mobile.
Why would you cancel it? Like, it's if it generates even for a mobile game, if it's not that popular, that's still probably it'll probably have more players than 2042 would.
Seriously.
So, yeah, it's a weird decision for me, but like I said, there must be other stuff going on, because all the stuff with like Respawn and that too, it must just must have other stuff behind it.
There's gotta be. We'll never know. Yeah, but I think I wonder if EA is just making an effort to stay away from mobile games, that I say that, but then you look at all the Star Wars mobile games that are going on, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird because it's also like EA's known for wanting money, and that's probably the best way to get money is
Yeah.
making a mobile game. So it's like, part of me thought that too. I was like, I wonder if they're going to like double down on just like AAA stuff. But then, yeah, like they are a business. If you want to make money, it's almost better to just drop AAA stuff and make mobile games instead. So I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes in the future, and hopefully they do make the right decisions on the next game, and they make sure that it is all focused, and I hope that they see that they're making the decisions for the right reason instead of like, oh, we're gonna cancel this mobile game, because I wonder why. Like you said, there's such a strong monetary incentive. Even if it's a crappy mobile game, you can make a ton of money on anything, really. Like, you just poop out a game and people are going to give you money for it for some reason.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a very confusing. That's exactly why. If this was like a console game or something, I think I'd be more understanding of it. But it's weird. It's very weird to me when any mobile game gets cancelled, because it's like, unless there's like some genuine issues going on, just put it out there, and if it sucks, it sucks. But if it doesn't suck, you're gonna make billions of dollars off it.
Seriously. I wonder too if the market for like a mobile first-person shooter is just pretty saturated right now with because there's Fortnite on Android, I think, still.
Yeah.
Not on iOS anymore. But there's also PUBG Mobile, which is insanely huge, and Call of Duty Mobile, which is also insanely huge.
Yeah, that's like dominating at the moment. I think it's like pretty much has taken over actual Call of Duty. Like, it's massive.
Yeah. It blows my mind, honestly, as someone who's not really a mobile gamer. The whole mobile shooter experience is fascinating.
I'm the same. I'm not much of a mobile gamer, but certain games I can get where it's like, I don't know, like a strategy game or something that plays well on a small screen. I can't imagine, like, I don't want to play a shooter on my phone. That sounds not fun.
That sounds like it would hurt my hands.
Yeah, like, it just sounds not... It doesn't flow well, I feel like. I've tried a few before, and it's like, it's so clunky. It's like you're learning. It's like you've picked up a controller for the first time and you're playing your first ever shooter. And like, we were all bad. Like, you couldn't even look around properly. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know how to jump. Like, that's how those games feel to me. So the fact that there's such a market for it is kind of confusing to me. But I guess, like, everyone has a phone, and if people don't have consoles and that, and you watch YouTubers that play, you know, Call of Duty, and it looks really fun, but you don't have a console, I guess those people probably are drawn to the mobile version. But for me, it does not interest me even remotely, to be honest.
Kids these days, man. Kids these days. But with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Let us know your thoughts a week into Battlefield 2042's no update. What are your thoughts on Breakaway? How have you been enjoying it? And what are your thoughts on the whole class system changes and the specialists? Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or contact at Uplink Podcast if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app. We'd greatly appreciate a review or a rating on Spotify. Helps us out a ton. And hey, check out our channels on YouTube, Sammy Boy YT, as well as Uplink Podcast. Would greatly appreciate that. As always, thanks to Ethan Clark for the beautiful thumbnail, you for listening, and we'll see you on the battlefield.